day. Good evening, everyone. I hope you all are doing great. I am Ayushi Manhas, and I'm thrilled to welcome you all to another exciting session of TechBairn Talks in collaboration with GL Bajaj Institute of Technology and Management. For those of you who are new here, TechBairn is India's fastest growing upskilling platforms. We're all about bridging the gap between classroom learning and real world skills. With industry aligned programs in AI, tech, and business, and partnership with top global companies, we are here to help students and professionals accelerate their careers. Today, we are delighted to welcome Ms. Prerna Lubana. She's a software developer at Blue Bash, skilled in Ruby on Rails, API integrations, and backend architecture. She loves transforming complex problems into elegant, long lasting solutions and constantly improving workflows and systems. Today, she'll be sharing with us her perspective on front-end, back-end versus full-stack development, choosing your own path, a topic that is highly relevant for future developers, engineers, and tech enthusiasts. Let's all give her a warm welcome. Before we get started, a quick note. We'll be having a dedicated Q&A session in the end, so please feel free to drop your questions in the chat box at any time. With this, I'd like to hand over the session to Prerna.
Thank you so much for having me and really delighted. So let me just give a quick intro about myself. I think Aisha has already given, but still, I'm Prerna Lubana, a software developer at Blue Bash Consulting Private Limited, and primarily a backend developer, I would say. So before we start the session, I would really like to know how many of you here are confused between front end, back end, and full stack. Your raised hands would be really a kickstart for me if I see there are some interactions. Okay, I see a few. That is great. And I would say that this is the point where many of you would be here right now because you are really confused. I was there at some point as well, but where I required some clarity, front end, back end, full stack, everything, because you are at the point you are studying everything, you are seeing everything, and you are just like, where should I go? Front end, back end, full stack, which pays more, which has more scope? But don't worry, we'll just talk about it. I'll share my experiences. We'll just have an interactive session, and I hope all of you gain something from this. And pardon me if I could not answer your questions in between. Please feel free to speak up. So when I was in your place, like I just said that I had same confusion. Like one day I liked front end because it looked more creative, and another day I just thought like that backend is more serious, and then everything around me they said like do full stack, it has more scope. Many of you might have heard about it that full stack has more scope and everything, but let's get a clarity about everything, that what is full stack, what is backend, and what is front end basically about. We'll not talk about tech terms or anything. We'll just have a general discussion that what things usually sum up to. Okay, so before we go into technical details or anything, I want you to understand one thing, that front end, back end, and full stack are not ranks that something is getting paid more than anything else. That is not how ranks are there. Like I would say, if I have to sum up in a few lines, a front end developer is the one who thinks how will the user feel. A full stack developer thinks, how do I connect both? And on the other hand, a backend developer thinks, how will the system behave? These are the basic things we'll be moving around. So let's take an example of any application or any website you open. Whenever you open, whatever you see is what a front end developer does. And after that, what happens when you click a button, or where your data goes, where the privacy of that is managed, that is everything we will say is backend. Let's start with front-end development. Front-end is everything that users sees and interact with, like buttons, forms, web pages, or animations, I would say. When you, like just I said, when you open a food delivery app or anything, whatever you see is front-end. Now, here's my personal experience with front end. Like when I tried initially, I loved how fast I could see the input. You write some code and boom, it shows up on your screen like HTML, you printed some tag or something. Front end is something that you could see instant like outputs to. But very quickly, I realized something about myself was that I didn't really enjoy struggling with alignment, spacing, or such issues. Some people love it, I respect that, but I really didn't enjoy it for 6 7 hours daily. And front end development is basically for the people who care deeply about the user experience, love instant visual satisfactions, enjoy making things look clean or aligned, that this much pixel space should be here, this much should be here. They are patient with UI. Like they have patience of getting everything like this should be pink or salmon pink or everything. That goes with front end as well. Now, just because I didn't enjoy front end doesn't mean you won't. It is a very different domain. Like it is basically like creative development, I would say. Someone who enjoys design plus logic. Okay, I think I'm getting some questions as well. Basic salary of front end development. Okay, basic salary, you say it depends on how much skill or how much potential you can show to the companies. That always depends on that. What at what level a company is and what potential is shown. That is basically the salary. I don't think so. We'll be discussing some salaries here. Let's just discuss about mindsets first. Okay, so now somehow come to my domain, backend development. And backend is basically, as I said, something that happens after you click a button. Like when you click login, where does your data go? Who checks your password? Where is it stored? Or how secure it is? I would say backend is completely an invisible world. Frontend is something that is visible to a user, but backend is something like an invisible world. Let's say we compare a website with a human body. The body you see, your face, your arms, that the other person could see is basically front end, what we say. And the brain inside that body, and how the nervous system works, and how when the food you eat is processed and everything, that is basically what we say is backend. Okay, like if you're someone who enjoys like what happens after this button is clicked, how my passwords are getting checked, or everything that is happening, how is this happening, you should be the one who is going for the backend. And okay, I guess I'm not getting the questions, or someone is typing. Anyways, BSA front end. Okay, ma'am, I'm in BTech first year. I learn BSA or front end or back end. Okay, this is what actually we are mainly discussing about. So if you're here to get a clarity about front end, back end, or full stack or anything, you should first know what interests you more. Learning something because it pays more or you don't enjoy is not, I think, is a good point you should be doing. The reason behind is like, it's not like that we are not money oriented or something. Let's be honest with everyone. We always look that some domain is paying more or everything, but for the web development or everything, these three domains pay equally. But you should be focused on what you enjoy in yourself as well. So we'll be taking these questions as well in the end. So, okay. So if we talk about full stack developer, everyone wants to become a full stack developer because it sounds powerful, like, but a real full stack developer is actually not someone who knows a little bit of everything, but a real developer, I would say full stack is someone who is really strong in one side first. Like, we don't want to be like jack of all trades. You must have heard this idiom, jack of all trades but master of none. we should not be like that. Master in one thing that interests you first if you want to go for full stack. Like if backend interests you most, go for backend first, but then side by side go for front end. Don't go for the both the sides equally at one time. You won't be able to achieve everything fully. And there is scope for front end and back end. Like there is currently, see, data science or data analyst has different scope domains, and if you talk about front end and back end, if you're in the web development, it has a different scope domain, I would say. Okay, so yeah, so basically this is something I would say. If you're choosing between front end or development, other app devs and then backend. That is the, I'm getting a question, Shivansh, hi, that in front end dev, we can do only web dev or we can do other like app dev and backend. See, this is completely your potential, I would say. If you are choosing the front end dev at the first, you show your potential, you master one thing. As I said, for the full stack or anything else, master one thing first. It is all about the understanding of the how the things work in front end, back end, everything. If you have front end, I would say web development is quite a different domain and app development is slightly different domain. But if you have potential, you can master both. There is no limit of learning or like scope in this. So I say that, like you said, in app development, it is quite different sort of a thing, but you can always learn that also. And talking about backend, if you are learning front end, you master that one, and then you move towards the backend, you will be shifting to full stack as well. And that will be really good if you have potential of continuous learning. And because let's be honest that tech is a very vast field. The field we are in, it is very fast. Every minute, every second, you are getting like a new method, a new API, or everything is new. Like since I have been in Blue Bash, like Blue Bash gave me the opportunity for development or real life problem solving, everything. When I started, I am personally actually working on Ruby and Ruby on Rails. When I started, the framework I am working on was on 5 or 6, and within 3 to 4 years, I'll say it has moved to 8, and every day and every month, I would say, we are getting a new version and everything. So like I'm in backend, I'm learning continuously for the backend. And if you say that you are in front end and shift to backend as well as, then you should have much potential of continuous learning. Like I would say 2 times of learning. If you have that potential, I'll really encourage that you go for those things. So let me get back to a few things that I have prepared for speaking as well. So when I was like brainstorming through this topic, that how should I present and everything, there are 5 questions I always wanted to tell myself if I could go like 2 years or 3 years back. But I would suggest you guys that you should ask these to yourself if you have to choose that front end, back end, or full stack. These 5 questions that I personally noted that are, do you enjoy like seeing visual outputs instantly? Do you get excited about logical problems? Or do you like understanding complete systems? Do you prefer creativity or logic more? Or do you enjoy debugging slow server issues or broken UIs? Like these are 4 to 5 questions you should be asking yourself before starting anything in particular. And if you go for visuals like that, go front end. If logic and systems like excite you more, go back end. If you like, I want a wider range for the things, you should move for full stack, I would say. But I would really say don't choose based on the trends, choose based on your thinking style. Because this way you'll really have a lot of scope. If you go for like sometimes we say, let's take an example, some of a child who likes football more, but the parents are continuously forcing, no, cricket has more scope and everything, but he's the one who has a mindset of footballer. but pushed into a cricket domain won't let him have so much scope. So just think like that you should be doing something you enjoy, that interests you more. Okay. And I would say, yeah, this is basically, to sum up what I say, front-end devs think about the experience user is getting, and we backend developers think about the systems, and full stack developers are like a bridge, I would say, that like to connect both of the things. Best language for front-end and backend. Okay, best language for front-end and backend. See, language is just a syntax. Backend is basically about logics more. It is more of your thinking power. If you are given some problem that these things are happening, how will you build a logic? It is basically that I'll pick up data from here, I'll process it in a way that I'll pick out these things and send front end this. Basically, backend is this. And talking about the language, it is just like Hindi, Punjabi, or English, I would say. You have to you have to just deliver your message the same way. The same you'll say in Hindi, you'll say in English and in Punjabi or any other language. But the main logic, that should be best. And if I say follow the trends for that, like in backend, like Node, Ruby, these languages, and Java for Evergreen, these are actually in trend. And for front end, as usual, React and Node, these are always on top. If you have to ask me personally for a few questions like this, that best language for backend and front end. But if you are going for backend, I would really say you should have a logical mindset. Okay, some people are raising hand right now. Okay, I'll appreciate more questions if you have. What about job security? Okay, job security. Show company your potentials and your job is secure. Everything depends on your dependencies and everything. So if you are taking out, if you are pointing to AI in this, still AI is not much potential, but definitely it is going to take over the things in future. But still, if you have some dependencies, if I talk about real corporate world, if they see your potential that yes, this person single-handedly can handle the project, you're definitely gonna have a job security. Okay, one stack, but it is full stack. How to master in one. So, see, you have done one stack, so you basically have a lot of knowledge about both the domains. Just see for yourself which interests you more. If you have done both of the sides like front end and back end, just check that if front end has always excited you more or the back end has. There is never both of the things, I would say. Full stack is a good thing, but while doing it, you somehow subconsciously or consciously favor a part of that development, that okay, I was doing this, okay, let's leave the data aside, but this button is slightly on the right, on the left, or like that. If user is coming up, I'm seeing that user is not enjoying the UI, it means you are leaning more towards front end. But if you are just slightly giving more preference to the backend, that okay, this data is going like that and I have to optimize it, I have to see this, then you should first go for backend. Just pick one which you favor the most, I would say. You should choose for development or app development, and why. Okay, if you are going for front end, I would say start with the building blocks. Like I got a question from Akash, which technology we should choose, web development or app development, and why. Okay, so Akash, web development and app development are two different things, and these are both in these point are equally important. Like most of the things have moved to applications, but still web is not overridden by like apps, I would say. There are a lot of sites that I am personally working on, EHR sites or Amazon and everything that I have heard, that still will be on websites only. But there is also a domain, if you are confused, there are always progressive web application development, PWAs. You can literally look into that. That is the development of both if you are confused between those. Just front end, but after some ultimately have to shift towards backend. Because I have seen so many people who are involved in. No, it is not like that. I have seen so many people who are involved in backend. There are a lot of people who are involved in backend, but like backend is like a more of a logic thing. So I would say that some people after some time realize that they enjoy backend more than front end. Now there is not like that people have to ultimately shift to backend, but it is like if you are doing front end, sometimes backend starts to interest you and you side by side do that. In my personal experience, I'll say that I have not seen anything like that. Excuse me, just give me a minute. I'm open for all the questions you can. So any other questions? I'm making a project. Okay, using AI in your initial projects, that is really a very important point I think we should be discussing. Using AI is not bad for your projects, right? It is giving you ease and increasing your development, like fastening up, I would say. But you should always know what code it is giving. If it is very initial for you, you should know that you should try to write code by yourself. At least you can check up what AI is giving. Sometimes AI gives you wrong answers and everything. If you are learning like in initial time, I don't suggest AI 100%. Take help. If AI is giving code, ask it what type of code it is giving, why it is using some sort of functionality, everything. So AI using is not bad, but you should know what it is giving you, if you can write it without its help or not. What it is giving you, is it understandable to you or not? If you are currently in third sem, I would rather suggest try to write some code on your own, initial levels as well. Okay. So what skills or technologies are considered absolutely essential for 2025 for each domain? Okay. So for each domain, I would say for front end, basic building blocks, HTML, CSS, or any language, then further React.js, you should be mastering in. And for the backend, any of the backend languages, that is must, and your logic building is must. And for the databases, I would say we have a lot of databases like SQL, MongoDB, NoSQL, MySQL, Postgres. You should at least be knowing about any one of them. Plus skills, if I say, we have always heard DSA and basic OOPS concepts. I literally took these very lightly when I was in college. Like, okay, what is going to happen? The company is going to teach me in the internship level and all. But these two are really important things that I would say that builds your basic foundation for development. Now, as I am working on real world projects, I really get to know that how OOPS and how everything DSA we use in real life. So it saves a lot of your time when you have, like, you are in industry, internship time, and you'll cope up with the people more easily. Which app development or future? So it totally depends on you. Like, these are two different domains, I would say, app development and web development. So both have like similar sort of a scope, I would say, but app development could go further more because mostly the things have been shifting to app, But I would say web development is never going down, because a lot of applications, a lot of things only work on webs only. Like I'm actually, let me tell you, the project I'm working on in real world, it is an EHR, electronic health record, a website for hospital. So most of the doctors and everything don't prefer having their data or their application on the system, or hampering the things like taking up the space. So there are things that will be always on web development, and there are few things that will be preferred in app. So I would say these both have equal scope. As a beginner, you should basically focus on the building blocks of the things, and then you can see what things interest you more. Okay. Deep learning and transformers roadmap. Okay, so this is basically not my domain, but I guess Ekta is raising hand. Ekta, you can write your question, or you can speak up if you want. So okay, for deep learning, and I would literally say that mathematics basics you should have proper. Python and ML AI is basically what required. Focus on Python, machine learning basics, or how an AI works. First go for that, and you'll definitely keep getting the ahead. Sorry, but this is not my domain. Literally sorry, Priyanshu. But as of now, I could just say focus on Python. Machine learning and deep learning models is something you should be focusing on. Rest, I can get you guidance. If you wish, you can connect with me on LinkedIn as well. Yeah, if you're in third semester, Akash, it is quite, I would say, optional at this stage. But if you are so curious about this, you should definitely know, because the projects you are right now building don't require load balancing and everything. But yes, if you are really curious about this, you can definitely learn. And I say you should definitely learn. I don't say this is optional or not. That definitely depends on your potential. How can you do it? And as I can see from your messages and all, you are more inclined towards backend development. So CI/CD and everything is very much like given importance to when you are in backend development or everything. So you should know about these. Like AWS and all gives us development platforms as well to practice. So you should, I think, do that. For now, load balancing is something you do when your project gets a lot of traffic or has a lot of data to manage. But you can always have like knowledge about those. That will just boost up your resume and the knowledge as well, I would say. My LinkedIn profile name is from my name itself, Prerna Lubana only. You'll be searching. I am connected with Abhinav as well. You can see him in the comments. Okay. Is there anyone who would like to share their personal experience about the projects they have made? That would really be appreciated.
Hi, does anybody have any more questions?
Yeah, I see some of them are typing, I guess. Small projects benefit more, or we should focus on big projects? Yeah, this is a very good question. I would say doing more projects, the number of projects don't count. Okay, start with small and go for one big project. It will really help you. It is all about experience, building up your resume, and building up your skill set. Start with one or two smaller projects. You'll face a few problems, you'll resolve them. If you are jumping onto a big thing at once, it might be like creating more difficulties for you. Start with 1 or 2 small projects and then you can go for a bigger project. Okay, how much does a referral help in landing a job at a Blue Bash as an STE? Okay, so I don't think so that would help that much, but yeah, you'll be noticed first, but still the process and everything, your evaluation, everything is going to be the same as someone who is applying from the portal itself. Not only Blue Bash, every company will evaluate you on your skills because everyone wants to employ a perfect person, a person who has potential, I would say. Salary for front-end developer. Okay. Like salary, I'm not sure if I have to tell you like this. So I'm sorry, I won't be answering this question. Okay, can you give guide what projects we should include in our resume? Okay, you can literally start with a very minimum level of like your portfolio sites that are really very helpful, or basic weather detection apps where you can integrate some third service APIs. That will really be happening. Or I would say calculator app is one of the starters which you have to do. Then you can go with like further projects. Like if you want to go for a big one, you can like go for the database management projects. Like I would say once I made was a hostel management project. You can build a big project that how the management of hostel will manage a portal, how the students can log in and fill up their fees. You can like start by slow and like from small steps, and you can go for a bigger project. Okay, how to start as a beginner and front-end developer. Okay, for front-end developer, there are two things you always listen to, like HTML and CSS. Build a foundation in that you can literally create a website like that, which is static. Then go for Bootstrap to make applications responsive and add accordions and everything, the elements which are provided, and then go for JavaScript. Once you master JavaScript, then go for a framework like React or Vue. That will be helpful to start as a beginner. All the skills matter, but growth in its sector is more of a luck. Okay, this is something amuses me as well. Yeah, skills matter. See, luck is in everything as well, but luck also comes with your hard work and everything. It is not like that growth in this sector is more of a luck. You can always develop your own website, host it. Initial investment it might take, but who knows, you can like pull up to a highest figure as well. What is the hiring process of Blue Bash? Okay, basically they might give you a starting of like some project or like some assignment to do. You'll have 2 to 3 rounds like assignment or something. You have to show them your coding skills in whatever language you have. If you are a fresher, and whatever language you have, your aptitude will be tested. Then you'll have a one-on-one interaction with one of our technical leads, and then you'll be having an HR round. Do they hire interns? Yes, they do hire interns. You can always check on the LinkedIn site as well. I think they might have posted some of the openings as well. Even I joined as intern 2 years ago in the Blue Bash. Corrections. Okay. See, Aryan, yeah. You asked do we need to become someone that deeply understand how the things work internally, or someone that just knows little bit about how things work in the system and just use AI to create things? See, if I honestly answer you, at this point, you might say that AI has mastered a lot of things, but still you will be judged or you will be evaluated based on what skills you have. AI cannot solve everything. Now, let me just give you a quick example. You all might know that a few days ago, Cloudflare went down. I guess almost everyone knows, right? So at that point, ChatGPT and a lot of sites were not working, and we had a really extreme emergency, extreme priority that client wanted the feature to be done by EOD. And I only had 2 or 3 hours, I would say. And when ChatGPT went down, it was a problem for me because it could have done in half an hour, but it went for 1 and 1.5 hour building a logic. But if you just know a little bit about it and rely 100% on AI, things like this, they'll literally create a problem for you. You should at least be master in the domain you are working. That is what my morals would say. In which year or semester you started preparing for development? Okay, most of my BTech went in like COVID as well. So I had a lot of time. So I would say first year was like me adapting to my college life and all. And from third or fourth semester, I started getting serious and learning languages or logics like that. Like I started with Java, but it was more of a syntax oriented programming. And I gradually shifted to logic building. And then while entering Blue Bash, I started with Ruby on Rails. So any more questions we have?
Does anybody have any more questions? We can wait a minute and then we'll be moving forward with closing the webinar.
Talk about your journey from a beginner to this stage. Which mistakes do not do as a beginner in the development? Okay, I have mentioned earlier as well. The mistakes that I made were taking OOPS and DSA lightly. These are not the topics that should be taken lightly. These are very much like important part of real world problems or real world projects we are working on. And other problem and other mistake that I made was that shifting to backend, frontend, and shifting languages swiftly that no, I want this, not having a proper decision at a time. Focus on what interests you more. That is the biggest mistake I made. And not starting, sometime I realized that I should have been serious about DSA and OOPS. It is really very important, guys. You might always listen to your teachers or your, I would say, YouTube trainers. You all might have been listening to. They always focus on DSA and OOPS. These are not to be missed, really. And these were my mistakes, I would say. How do you decide when to adopt a new front-end library or framework? Okay, you have to keep up with the trend, I would say. And it definitely also depends on the requirement of the project. Like there are n number of libraries, n number of frameworks in front-end, back-end, everywhere. It firstly depends on what kind of requirement you have in your project. Secondly, you have to keep up with the trend. This is how you decide when to adopt a new front-end library or anything, because everything keeps upgrading and everything keeps changing. You have to keep up that, okay, now this React version has to be upgraded. You upgrade your project with it so that you can keep up with the trend. What CGPA is required for the company? Okay, there are, I guess, different criteria for the companies, 7, 8, some prefer 9. So there is no fixed criteria, and every company requires a different they set a different bar for everyone. What are the SaaS projects you suggest for resume that create a great impact in our interview? Okay, Um, Vansh, okay. Vansh, what sort of domain you are willing to move into? It depends on that. What sort of things you should be like building or focusing on to put into your interview. What sparked your interest in backend and logic building? Okay, yeah, this is something like what sparked my interest. I'm basically not a person who would see, okay, this is a minor alignment and I want to do this, and that never interested me. It was just like when I started building like projects. Okay, let me just describe my journey. When I first joined Blue Bash, it was more of like we were given everything, like whichever path we want to choose. We were given HTML, CSS, JavaScript. I literally made project in Frontend as well at that time, and basically I was hired at backend developer, but they wanted us to have knowledge about all. So when I compared both of the things, the thing that interested me more was why this data is taking so much time to be loaded, how this data is getting so structured and sending to the backend, how this one line or one URL is getting so much data. That curiosity and that everything is what I would say interested me. And there is a funny experience I would like to share with you. Like 2 or 3 years back, when I joined Blue Bash, our evaluations were taken by our highest authority, and we were given once a project for the first evaluation that was based on HTML and CSS. Okay, somehow I made it. It starting in the starting, it interests me a lot, but slowly and steadily, it started going like, okay, I have to put this button here, I have to do that. I kept losing interest myself. It's okay. Then there was, for the second evaluation, we had to build a backend project, particularly backend dependent. And it was like we built an image gallery app for evaluation, and I was completely focused on backend because it interested me. And when the evaluation happened, the senior authority who looked at my project, he was like, what have you done? I was like, no, I've done everything and it looks good and it has a good optimization and all. Okay, they asked me back end questions, I answered it. But somehow there were things that UI was not looking good. And that made me think that, okay, I have always been focusing on backend, that front end is not my domain. That what made me realize that it is not a good thing, that or it is not something that interests me. Mern or Pern. Okay. Pern is basically, I guess, Postgres React node, and Mern is something with MongoDB. I guess as of the trends, Mern is more, but both are equally valued, I would say. I want to know about Gen AI. Okay, Gen AI is a very vast topic, I would say, and we have very less time, and this might be going off topic right now. Yes, JavaScript is valued, and it is very popular because for the front end development, JavaScript is just like a foundation stone, because React and everything is a framework on JavaScript. If you learn JavaScript, next step will be your Vue or React or something like that, I would say. Compared to Java and others, Java has a different sort of market and JavaScript has a different sort of market, and both are equally popular. What about in backend? Okay, in backend right now, I would say Go, Node.js, Python, and Ruby is what I have been hearing about the trends. But backend, as I always say, it's all logic, and the language is just the syntax.
Yeah, I think we
Yeah.
should move with the end now.
Yeah, right. It was really nice to see a lot of people having curiosity about the career and people having mindsets for knowing what is going on. Really, I did not expect that I will be having so much interactions. Really, it has given me a lot of experience and it was good connecting with you guys. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you so much, Prerna. Thank you so much for such an insightful session. I'm sure everybody is going back with some great takeaways. And thank you to everybody present here for also for such being such a nice audience.